Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I'm Kate from the Rockwell Museum, and I am here today bringing another video to everybody to try to incorporate some of our art experiences into what you're doing at home this summer. We can't use the museum for all the things we would normally like to do this summer, so we're bringing the museum to you. Today, I'm speaking with Filomena Jack, who was selected
Hello.
to create an interactive artwork for the Kids Rockwell Art Lab. We got creative to find a way that you could interact with her artwork without having to visit the art lab. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your own practice and what you do.
Sure. So my name's Filomena Jack. You may have seen me on the internet somewhere as Filomena Jack Studio. I am an arter. I'm a person who arts a lot, so I hope you're an arter too. I'm an illustrator. I paint. I'm currently working on some New York community, and I love little books called Zines, and that's up today.
Neat. So can you tell us a little bit about the piece that you were intending to create for the Kids Rockwell Art Lab that will not be installing this summer?
That's right. So I have a friend named Bunsy D. Rabbit, which you can see here. He was going to come with me to the art lab and help people express stories about something that happened in their day. We were going to draw on long pieces of paper that were in rolls, so it was all connected, and we were going to tell stories about what happened during our day. I was then going to come in maybe behind the scenes and insert Bunsy into some of your stories. And at the end, we would have this large community story of what's been going on in our days.
That does sound fun, but we're going to talk about a way that we can maybe do some of that from home.
Yes.
But before we get into our demonstration and talk about our art kit, we want to talk about the fact that you were selected as one of 4 women to create an artwork for the Art Lab this summer, because for all of 2020, the Rockwell Museum is focused on the theme of advancing women. And we chose this to respond to the inequality of representation in art museums. Most museums only display about 15% of the work that they have on view is by women, and even less if we're talking about women of color. So we're just bringing awareness to women artists and trying to bring some balance to those numbers. So who are some of your favorite women artists?
So right off the bat, I have someone who may be an unusual choice, but I'm going to pick Mary Engelbright. She is an illustrator. She is an entrepreneur. She's been working for a very long time, and she makes what may at first seem just very cutesy wootsy, sweet illustrations, and they are, but oftentimes there's also a message in her art, and she's not afraid to talk about the things that are in her head and are concerning her.
That sounds great. I really love doing these interviews with you all because it's very clear how, the people who inspire us really influence the work that we do, because that sounds right up your alley.
Yes, isn't it? I remember seeing her stuff when I was very young, and I even just a postcard of her artwork, I would treasure it. And now to be making art that kind of feels like they would hang out together feels very good. In fact, I actually painted her portrait because I like her so much.
Wow. That's so great. That's really great. And we're all about having those kinds of role models and peers now. That's great. So to talk about our demonstration today, if you're watching this video, you might have received a bag with art supplies, or maybe you found this video and you are looking for what supplies you need to gather around your house. Either way, whether you have our kit or whether you're going to get stuff from home, we're going to show you what you need and how you're going to do this project. So what does this art kit look like, and what are you going to be demonstrating for us today?
So we are going to be making zines, which stands for magazines, little mini magazines, or maybe it's called a fanzine. And in your kit, you're going to have this plastic bag so you can put all your supplies in here. You're going to have a sharpened pencil. You're going to have a couple of colorful markers, and everyone's getting different colors, so it'll be a surprise. You're going to have a little card that talks about me, And if you had any questions, I would love to answer your questions. But most importantly here, we are going to have a history of zines, just a little bit that you can read. And on the back are all of the instructions on how to fold. So if my demonstration today confuses you a little bit, or if you need a reminder, you'll have on the back here all of the things I'm going to teach you about how to fold. We also gave you a couple of pieces of paper. So you may have paper that looks like this. Your paper may be a little larger. That's a great thing about this. It doesn't matter what kind of paper you use. You can use any sort of paper.
That's great. So before we go through the step-by-step, are there some things that we should learn and think about before we get started?
Absolutely. So I think it's a good idea, no matter what sort of art you're making, is to think about a few questions. First off, I'd like you to think about, why are you making this? Is it because you just want to express yourself? Is it because you want to play with colors, or you got a new pack of crayons and you want to just play with them? So are you making your zine today because you want to teach something, like a recipe? Are you wanting to make people laugh, so you want to share some jokes? Are you just experimenting? Maybe you want to tell a story, or maybe you're not feeling so great and you want to express yourself so you can feel better. Maybe you just want to collect some stickers in your zine. Another thing to think about is, who is going to read your zine? Maybe it's just you. Maybe you have some younger kids in your life you want to share it with, or you have older kids you want to share it with, or you have an adult, maybe your favorite teacher you want to share your zine with, or maybe you want to share your zine with a kangaroo. That would be interesting. I'd also like you to think about how you're going to express yourself. Are you going to tell jokes in your zine? Are you going to write down recipes? Are you going to have instructions that have text, or maybe just drawings, or both? Are you going to have clues? Are you going to just show pictures? Or maybe if you're collecting stickers, you're going to have all your scratch and sniff here. So how are you going to put together your thoughts? So, shall we get started?
Yeah, let's see how we can actually make it. This sounds fun.
Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate on this bright yellow paper, but like I said, you can use any sort of paper you have around. You can even use paper that's a different shape. So this is a square, and if you were to make a square, you would get a zine that was more this shape, and you can hold it this way or that way. But right now, I'm going to start with this bright yellow sheet of paper. So first thing I'm going to do is fold it in half. So I've got, here's 11 inches, and here's 8.5 inches. I'm going to fold it sort of like a taco or a hot dog bun. So you see it opens like that. Then I'm going to fold it in half the other way. So basically I'm making a big cross here. Big plus sign, okay? And again, all of these instructions are gonna be in your kit. So if I'm going too quickly, you can always refer here. So now that I have my paper folded in fours, basically, I'm going to look at this size here. I'm going to fold this edge to the center. And you'll do better and better as you practice this. So if your fold lines aren't exactly perfect, don't worry about it. All is well. If you needed to, you could always take a pair of scissors and carefully trim your folds if you needed to. Okay, so now I'd like us to fold this in half long ways. See what we have here? Yeah. And then just for practice, let's fold it in the other direction too, making sure that we have it nice and crisp. Okay. So here's a little bit of magic. So here I've got my fingers on the short sides of the paper, and I'm going to push them together to make what looks almost like a steeple. You can see it. See how I'm imagining that looks like a steeple? So I'm going to make a drawing here so you can see where I'm cutting. You don't need to do this on yours unless it's helpful. But right here, I'm going to cut my paper, and I'm being very careful with my scissors. And I'm going to stop right where I have those fold lines connected. And again, you'll see this on your instructions. So depending on the size of your scissors, you may only need to make one snip. I need to make 1.5 little snips there. And I've stopped where that's folded. I haven't gone all the way. So I still have one piece of paper. Okay, so now I've got my hands at the short sides again. And here's some more magic. We're going to pinch and put our paper on its edge. See, I've got a diamond shape in there. And maybe I'll just give these folds a little extra love. Make sure they're extra foldy. All right, this is my favorite part. Kate, are you excited? My favorite part, here we go. I'm gonna fold all of these together. And bada bing, you have your first little zine. And again, it doesn't matter if your pages aren't exactly like right here. I have a little bit where it wasn't folded exactly. I can give it a little extra fold. I could take scissors and just cut it down a little bit. So I've given you here an example of how this will all come together. So I've done the exact same thing. And you see I have 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 segments. I've got a front cover and a back cover, and that's very interesting how they are right next to each other. And then along the other side is page 1 and 2, page 3 and 4, page 5 and 6. So it might help you to make a template like this before you start designing what's going to be in your zine, to help you visualize where everything is going to go. Sometimes people take these zines and they make Xeroxes or carbon copies or prints of these zines. So you could scan this and make up to 100. So historically, zines are done in issues of 100 or less. That's kind of a soft number. I've done about 20 at a time, so they're sort of limited edition. So if you were wanting to make copies of this, you could lay this out flat, do all of your designs before, even before you cut it, and then make Xerox copies of your book, your limited edition book. So again, we've got front cover, back cover, and I can show you that here. Front cover, I started this one, it's all about popcorn. I've got my back cover, and what I think I'm going to put on here is maybe a fake ISBN number, like it was officially official book. I might put a thank you to all of my supporters who also love popcorn. So I've got my front cover, my back cover, and then this is page 1 and 2, just like here I have page 1 and 2. So I've started my all about popcorn book talking about what I need in order to pop the perfect pot of popcorn. So the next pages I'm going to add are maybe some of my favorite ingredients, and then here, some of my favorite places to eat popcorn. I really love popcorn. Other ideas you can work on with your zine is to have what I call zine TV. So here I've got my book, just like we made in the other examples. But what I've done is I've cut a square out of one of the pages. And then I put little pieces of tape on the edges so that this strip of paper can run right through. So my zine TV is telling the story of a heart coming to visit. So there's the first screen, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. And depending on how long your paper is, you could keep telling lots and lots of stories.
It's so cool to think if your family or somebody that you know has access to a copy machine, you could make one beautiful book and then you could mail them. You know, if you can't see some of your loved ones right now, you could make one beautiful book rather than spending all your time hand drawing your book over and over and over again. You could copy it and mail it to all your loved ones that maybe you've been missing since we've all been in our homes.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And so we recognize that really your artwork is only happening on one side of the paper. Okay. So when I started making them, I made some mistakes, and I had a cover here and then my back cover. I thought, well, it's the back of it, so it must be the back of the paper. So just be very careful that you're only putting your art on one side.
Right, exactly. This is so fun. So yeah, and like Filomena said, maybe you have a kit with a couple pieces of paper, but if you have colorful paper around your house or
Right.
something that's printed on one side but not the other, you can be very sneaky just like that, right? And make your art on the blank side, and then it has kind of a pretty inside. So
right,
really a lot of different things you could do.
If you have any magazines that are in your house and you have the permission of everyone in the house to cut them up. So here's an old Martha Stewart magazine that had some really pretty pictures. I started to cut it up so I can tell this story called The Catnapper. So this text was in the magazine and I snipped it up and I saw this cute picture of a cat somewhere. So now I'm starting to tell the story of the catnapper. And this was done with a piece of paper that's square like this.
So much fun. So it's really, once you have those instructions, you'll be able to do so many things.
That's right.
We also, so hopefully you found this video maybe from our Facebook or maybe from the Rockwell Museum's Museum from Home page, which is www.rockwellmuseum.org/kids/museum-from-home. And there are lots of great things on there. And you are also going to be able to find these instructions on there if you didn't get your own kit. So again, you don't have to worry about following along. Of course, you could always pause the video and go back to the next step. So, we're really making it easy for you to crank out some cool zines.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what everyone creates.
I know, I can't wait either. I can't wait to see the great pictures. So I think that's our demonstration for today. And you learned a little bit about Filomena as well. So when we're able to have things going on again, you can look up some of her classes, find out where she's at. And otherwise, stay tuned for more ways that we're going to bring the art to you all summer long.
Yes, keep making art, and please, if you can, draw a little bit every single day.
That's very good advice. You heard it from a real artist. Thank you so much, Filomena.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.